Ms. Dahl, do you have a closing?
Yes, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in this phase, we're asking you to play the same, you have the same responsibility that you did in the first phase of the trial, which is you're the finder of fact. You are allowed to look at the evidence that has already been admitted in the trial, the testimony, the physical evidence, and your observations of all of that. So you can look at that, and you can also consider the testimony you've had here today from Trooper James Casey. I'd like to start with you, if you look on page 5, with the offense is a dangerous offense. This applies to counts 2 through 5, and essentially you must make the finding that you believe a firearm was used in the commission of counts 2 through 5. And that's what would be considered a dangerous offense under Arizona law. You know, based upon the trial, that a firearm was used in this offense. Moving to the offense involved now these relate to all of the counts 2 through 8, the remaining aggravating factors. The dangerous allegation relates to counts 2 through 5. The remaining 4 relate to counts 2 through 8, all of them. And you must make a specific finding for each count, each victim, and the drive-by shooting for both aggravated assault, threatening or intimidating, and drive-by shooting. Let's start with the offense involved the infliction or threatened infliction of serious physical injury. Clearly, shooting at the police officers involves the serious infliction of physical injury. You know that. This may seem duplicative or not common sense, but you're asked to, again, make the determination that there was the use of a firearm involved in all of the offenses. That is a separate finding from the dangerousness offense. In this case, again, a firearm was used. You know this based upon the evidence in this case. I'm not going to belabor this point. The offense caused physical, emotional, or financial harm to the victim. Both Mike Alfano, Ronaldo Cruz, and now James Casey has testified, James Casey twice, in front of you. You can look to their testimony and consider the way they testified, their demeanor, what they told you. You can consider what Trooper Casey has just told you regarding their medical retirement based upon what the defendant did in this case. Those men had careers ahead of them, young, successful, seasoned law enforcement officers, and that all came to an end because of the defendant. Finally, as it relates to all counts, the offenses involved promoted, furthered the interests of a criminal street gang or assisted a criminal street gang. You really need to look at your notes of retired Detective Clint Davis. You know the defendant was a gang member, both co-felt jets in the Arizona Mexican Mafia. You know, based upon his expert testimony, that in fact the ultimate act of prestige is shooting a law enforcement officer in the face. Now you also know there were dual motives here, and you're allowed to look at dual motives. One, he was not going to be taken into custody. That was the motive for this case. But you also know, based upon Detective Clint Davis's testimony, that that is one of the mandates of the Arizona Mexican Mafia, to stay out of custody and to continue doing their deeds. You also know that it assists the Arizona Mexican Mafia when someone like Ramon Bueno shoots a law enforcement officer and he is known as a Mexican Mafia member. You know that he did this in front of Danny Vargas and how that will help his status when Danny Vargas can serve to say, oh yeah, he was there, I did it. You know, his status also goes up, shoots through the roof after shooting a law enforcement officer in the face within that world. So, the status of the Mexican Mafia because of this, that went up. There was fear. You know that based upon what Lori Richardson told you and Detective Jan Butcher when she said, this involves a mafia. She was scared. And that's what they want. he caught with? 2 other mafia members and members of the Kofeld Jets. That was not by accident. This was the ultimate crime for Ramon Bueno. Just didn't get away with it because of you. But did it help the Mexican mafia? Absolutely. And he knew that because you know he was extensively documented as a member of the mafia. And there was no challenge to that. The state always has the burden of proof. Always. And we embrace it. The state proved it. When I say there was no challenge to that, that means simply that the state's view of the evidence is that. But did it help the mafia? Absolutely. Did it have the effect it wanted? Absolutely. However, based upon your verdict, did he get away with it? Absolutely not. Thank you.
Thank you.